I love coffee.
It's good for adding other flavors in.
Like mayonnaise?
Sure.
Ew. I hate coffee. Mayonnaise is gross.
You're already losing the melon.
It's not really relevant.
Well, I don't know.
Hello everyone, I'm Alex, also known as Obsessive Costuming Dude.
I'm Yogurt.
Doesn't matter.
This is Glutenheimer.
Damn it, Yogurt.
These are my assistants.
You're welcome.
My wife and I run Taylor's Gone Wild, formerly known as Bad Wolf Costumes, through which we offer a variety of sewing patterns, mostly Star Trek, but some other cool stuff too.
If you're into that.
And I want to thank you for all the support you've shown us over the years. Not just buying the sewing patterns, but all the positive feedback, recommending them to friends and to other people in the community, posting on social media. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
I also have several sewing and costuming blogs, my favorite and the most popular of which is the Star Trek Costume Guide.
Gee, I love Star Trek Next Gen!
What's that?
Yep, we're in the middle of a TNG project right now. Over the past few years, I've posted a lot of costume research and sewing tutorials, which have been very well received by the community, which is cool, and I want to do a lot more of them.
Ooh, like DS9?
Yep.
Voyager?
Mm-hmm.
Enterprise?
Yep.
The movies?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Well, I've actually done some older costume research into the DS9 and Voyager era uniforms and posted it around the internet, but I really want to update that older stuff and move it all to my Star Trek Costume Guide blog. And the TOS movie era uniforms, like the Monster Maroons, have been one of my top requests for years now, and I'd like to tackle those as soon as possible too.
Ooh, I bet everyone's going to love that. Let's do it! But can you let me know how long it's gonna take? Because I'm gonna need lunch soon.
Me too.
Oh, these things take a lot of time to put together.
So maybe we could have lunch delivered?
Literally dozens, usually more like hundreds of hours go into every costume analysis I do, and usually several $100s go into every sewing tutorial I post.
I'm out.
We're gonna need a lot of lunches.
Yeah. I mean, I recently started examining and patterning directly off of screen-used costumes whenever possible. Several owners and collectors have generously allowed me to study pieces of their collections, which is awesome, but shipping these things usually costs quite a bit. I also need several yards of muslin to do the pattern trace, scans and copies for my local print shop, some cheap fabric to test the pattern, more pattern prints, and finally anywhere from $50 to $500 or more to make the demonstration uniforms for the sewing tutorial.
Ouch.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, it all adds up pretty fast.
If you want a new job, my guy Vincino was looking for a specialist. It's a little outside my comfort zone.
No, I don't mind the work. I actually kind of enjoy it, but the money and especially the time required can make these resources challenging to produce.
You can hazard pay.
Yeah, I don't care. This is what I want to do.
Suit yourself.
I want to build the ultimate free resource for everyone interested in learning about and/or making Star Trek costumes. The plan is to eventually cover all the major uniforms with costume analyses and sewing tutorials available on the blog.
For a small fee.
Nope, I want this to be a free resource for everybody.
Fine.
Oh, and I'm also working on color matching the various fabrics and division colors used over the shows and movies, and I plan to post about those on the blog as well.
Oh wow.
But of course, the expenses really add up there too, with the dyes and chemicals themselves, fabric to experiment with to establish recipes, costume cards to match to. It usually winds up taking about $100 or even $200 and several dozen hours to determine a dye recipe that's a good color match to the original. And of course, there were umpteen division colors and color variations over the decades. I've been at it for a while now and I've had some good results. I'd love to complete the set and post those recipes on the blog for everyone interested in fabrics that are more accurate than your typical retail colors.
Yeah, those seem pretty limited.
So that's some of the stuff I have going on. Now let's talk specifics. The first task is to update my current TNG resources. Since I wrote my original TNG jumpsuit analysis back in 2017, I've had the opportunity to examine several screen-used uniforms and will be posting about those very soon. Then we'll continue on to the later era TNG uniforms, with costume analyses, patterns, and sewing tutorials for each of them. After that, we'll circle back around to the DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise era uniforms, and I'll update all those materials like I mentioned earlier. I'll also be updating those older sewing patterns to our current numeric sizing, and hopefully patterning as many as possible directly off of screen-used costumes. Somewhere in there, we'll also dive into the movie-era uniforms. I've been gradually working on costume analyses for these, but I don't know where exactly they'll fit into the queue. I'll also be doing corresponding women's patterns for nearly all of the aforementioned uniforms. Plus, I plan to eventually post dye recipes for accurate division colors, once I've established the ones in each uniform family.
I see what you mean about lunch.
Is it lunchtime?
Now, if there's enough support here on Ko-fi, beyond all the current expenses for these costuming resources, I'd love to be able to use some of the funds to make some cool things happen.
We could get an alchemy lab.
Some extra passports.
I was thinking more like doing runs of replica trims, like those on the TNG era formal uniforms, or even custom fabric runs.
That could be cool too.
And there are other things besides Star Trek too. Depending on the interest, I'd like to do some classic Who costumes, like the 2nd and 3rd Doctors, as well as the 10th Doctor's overcoat and the 11th Doctor's tweed jackets. Outside of those two franchises, again depending on the interest, I might want to do some Galaxy Quest uniforms, an Austin Powers costume or two, and I know Catherine wants to do some Skyrim stuff.
Ooh.
These are just some possibilities I wanted to mention so you know it's not all Star Trek over the next little while.
Can we move this along?
Yeah, I'm getting kind of hungry.
Well, if you've enjoyed all the costuming resources I've done so far, like costume analyses, examinations and video tours of screen-used costumes, sewing tutorials, that kind of thing, and you want to see more of them, please support my work on Ko-fi.
So, you're trying to bribe them into bribing you into giving them free stuff.
Yeah?
Okay.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Mail us your credit card.
Don't do that.
Make it so.
These are my...
Yeah,
I mean, I recently started examining and patterning directly off of screen-used possums?
So, you're trying to bribe